Hello, my name is Keshwani. That's K-E-S-H-W-A-N-I, Keshwani. We are here because we want to prepare for the GMAT. We have been solving GMAT math problems out of this book here, the GMAT Review, the official guide, the 13th edition. If you do not own this book already, purchase one immediately. You're going to need it. The problem that we are about to solve is the one that you will find on page number 275. Page 275, and today is our lesson number 12, day 12. These are data sufficiency problems, and we are on problem number 9. Let's take a look at it. Turn to the page 275 and read the question to yourself. It says a citrus fruit grower receives $15 for each crate of oranges. So he receives $15 for each, they say each crate of oranges. Now listen carefully. Oranges, I don't want to use O for the oranges. I find it annoying. I'm just going to call it tangerines. So we don't have oranges, we have tangerines. So he gets $15 for each T. T stands for a crate of tangerine. T stands for a crate of tangerine, which have just been designated as honorary oranges. And then they go on to tell us that he gets $18 for each crate of grape. For each crate of grapes, I believe. And $18 for each crate of grapefruit. That makes sense, because I was wondering how you can have a crate of grapes that he ships. Question simply is how many crate of oranges did he ship last year? How many crates of oranges, as they put it? For us it's tangerine. So the question here is how many tangerine? That's all. That's very simple, straightforward question. Let's look at the first statement. In the first statement they tell us last week the number of crate of oranges that the grower shipped. Number of crate of oranges that the grower shipped, which is our T. Our tangerine was means equals, was, let's write down in words first. Last week T, which is the number of crates of tangerine that he shipped, was 20 more than twice grapefruit. And there is our equation here. T was means equals 20 more than 2 times the G, or if you like the number of tangerine that he shipped was 2 times the number of crate of grapes that he shipped plus 20 more, which is the same thing. So that's our equation, and that's all we have. Question is, how can we answer how much is T? The answer is no, of course not. Why? Because we have two unknowns. We have T and we have a G. We need to figure out how many crates of grapefruit he shipped in order for us to figure out the T. If we know the value of G, we can figure out the value of T, but we don't have the value of G at this point. And the first statement by itself does not provide us the value of G. So the statement number 1 by itself is not enough. Alas, it's not enough. So here's our A, D, B, C, E. A, D, B, C, E. Make a habit of it. And if you still don't know what I'm talking about, I keep reminding you. I don't know how many more videos I'm going to keep reminding you. Maybe a few more for data sufficiency. Make sure you watch the GMAT data sufficiency intro. Just type in this tag. Just type in GMAT data sufficiency intro with my name in it, Keshwani, and then watch that video. Okay? And you will understand what I mean by A, D, B, C, E. So the first statement by itself is not enough. It's no good. First step is no good. That tells us the answer cannot be A, it cannot be D. The correct answer, whatever the hell it is got to be either B, C, or E. Let's look at second one. Second statement tells us I'm going to erase this part. That's it. We're done with the first statement. It doesn't. Perhaps we should leave it. So the first statement we're done. Second statement, they go on to tell us that last week his total revenue was 38,700. Okay, listen carefully. Again, knowing that his total sales last week, his total revenue last week was 38,700, is not enough to answer how much is T. But the question is, do you see, are you capable of seeing that this is actually an algebraic equation? Because his total revenue that he earns equals to, for example, he gets $15 for each crate of tangerine. $15 for each crate of tangerine. Let's suppose that he shipped 3 crates of tangerine. So he's going to get $45 for the tangerine, because if he ships 3 crates of tangerine. And then we know that he gets $18 for grapefruit. And let's suppose that he ships 10 crates of grapefruit. This thing is his total revenue. This is his total revenue, right here, total revenue. So what we do is here, T represents how many tangerine he shipped. So if he shipped 3 of them, his total revenue would have been 3 times 15, because he gets $15 for each one of them. And if he ships 10 crates of grapefruit, his amount of money that he got from the grapefruit would have been 18 times 10, because if he ships 10 of them, he gets $18 for each one of them. He would get $180 for 10 crates of grapefruits. So the amount of money that he gets for the grapefruit is right here, and the amount of money that he gets from the tangerine is right here. You add these two figures up, and what you arrive at is what is known as total revenue. And that is your equation here. Of course, we do not know T, we do not know that is 3. We just have to put down the symbol here, T. So 15 times T, which represents the amount of money that he gets from selling the crates. One more time. This amount represents the amount of money, I'm going to say slowly, 15 times T represents the amount of money that he gets from selling or shipping T crates of tangerine. And this represents the amount of money that he gets from shipping G crates of grapefruit. Amount of money he gets for G crates of grapefruit. And similarly, this is the amount of money that he gets from selling dollar for T crates of tangerines. That is an equation. Again, it's the same exact problem. It's a very nice equation, but the problem is that, just like the first statement, the problem here is that it's got 2 unknowns, and we cannot figure out the value of 2 unknowns from one equation. This we know equals to 38,700. So 38,700 goes here, 38,700 goes here. So here's our equation here. But it doesn't do us any good because there are 2 unknowns. There are 2 unknowns here. We cannot solve for the question is how much is T. We cannot solve this equation for T because again we do not know the value of G. Second statement by itself is also no good. Which means answer cannot be B. Let's put them together. Okay, now here's the prickly part. When we put them together, you should be able to see immediately that this here, let's put down the 2 equations separately up here. I'm going to erase all of this thing because we need the room. I'm going to erase all of this thing. So here's our first equation. This first equation came from the first statement, or this one came from, was this first statement? Yep, that one came from the first statement. T equals 2G plus 20. And the second statement tells us, from the second statement we got this equation. We got 15T plus 18G equals 38,700. We should be able to see immediately, right away, that putting the 2 statements together will be enough to answer the questions how many crates of grapefruit he shipped, or for that matter, how many crates of tangerine he shipped. Because there are 2 equations, Well, that's not enough actually to say two equations. There are two independent equations and two unknowns. Of course you can solve for t and g. That's it, we're done. Together they will work. Together they work. They work in the sense that we can answer the question, and therefore the answer is C. Again, A, D, B, C, E. We crossed out A and D because the first statement by itself it did not work. We cross out B because second statement by itself did not work. When we put them together, it does work. Voila. The answer is C. That's it. We're done. We're done with this problem. Now, anything that we're going to do from this point on, is purely for the sake of honing our algebraic skills. It's purely for the sake of sharpening our algebraic skill, purely for the sake of learning purposes. As far as the exam is concerned, you wouldn't be foolish enough to actually sit there and do the damn thing out, because they're not asking you exactly what T is, they're not asking you exactly what G is, they're simply asking you, is there enough information for one to be able to figure out the value of T and G? And the answer is yes, we can figure out the value of both T and G, even though they're asking only for one variable here. So this part, anything that we're going to do from this point on, exam does not require it, but we're going to do it anyway, out of curiosity as to what they are. Okay, so here we go. Let's learn some algebra also. So we're going to solve them actually. We're going to actually solve them, okay? So 15t plus 18g equals 38,700. But we know that t equals 2g plus 20, so we're going to put it here. 15 and t equals this part right here. So we're going to substitute this t in here. 2g plus 20 plus 18g. The good thing to do right now for you would be to actually pause the video and do it yourself. Solve the entire equation by yourself and then compare the work that you do by yourself and the work that we do together. That's how we learn. So it equals 28,700. When we open the parentheses, we get 30g. Here we get 15 times 20. Ah, I know what I did here. I knew it was getting far too complicated. Because when the numbers get, actually I shouldn't have raised so fast in a hurry. When the number gets to be so complicated, you should stop and think about it. You should stop and think about it. You see, this is the learning part that I'm talking about. You should stop and think about it, because 9 out of 10 times there is something that you can do with the equations which makes it simpler. Because the purpose of this exam, again I'm breaking into a sermon here, what you have to understand is that the purpose of the exam is not for them to see how good you are at crunching out big numbers. They just want to see if you can think clearly, that's all. Why don't we divide this entire thing by 3? 15 is divisible by 3, 18 is divisible by 3. Now how do I know that 38,700 is divisible by 3? As I've said many times in the past, in my previous video if you've been watching, the rule to figure out whether or not a number is divisible by 3 is to simply add up its digits. 8 plus 7 is 15, and 15 is divisible by 3, and 3 is divisible by 3, and therefore 38,700 is divisible by 3. So I'm going to divide the whole thing by 3, make our life simpler, okay? Make our life simpler. So 15t divided by 3, so basically we're dividing everything by 3. Everything by 3. 15t divided by 3 is 5t plus 6g equals, let's divide, how many 3's? I'm going to do it here so you can actually see it easily, instead of making it too crowded there, for you to be able to see it properly. Okay? And I'm going to point out, I'm going to have my pointy thing here so you can see it. How many 3's in a 3? Obviously there is 1 3 in a 3, so 1 3 is in a 3. How many 3's in a 2? Oh sorry, how many 3's in an 8? 8 has 2 3's. So we cross out the 8 and we put down 2 there. The remaining 2, because 2 3's are 6, this is 8. The remaining 2 goes and joins this guy and becomes 27. How many 3's in 27? 27 has 9 3's. How many 3's in a 0? 0 has no 3's. How many 3's in this 0? There's no 0. I'm just being silly because of course we just take the 2 zeros. So that's it. It becomes 12,900. Which is still not a very good number, but it still is better than dealing with this bloody thing. Now let's substitute. So 5t, t equals 2g plus 20t. 2g plus 20 plus 6g equals 12,900. I'm going to erase this part because otherwise it's going to get annoying. Perhaps we can keep it separate. Open the parentheses, we get 10g, 5 times 20 is 100, plus 6g equals 12,900. We get 10 g's and 6 g's, we get 16 g's. Bring the 100 to the other side. 16 g's. Bring the 100 to the other side, it's going to become 12,800. 12,800. Let's divide both sides by 4. Let's divide both sides by 4. So this is going to become 4. So 4g equals, how many 4s? How many 4s in a 12? How many 4s in a 12? 12 of course has 3 4s. How many 4s in an 8? 8 has 2 4s. And then 2 zeros. So it becomes 3,200. Oh, I see 32, I see a 4. Let's go one more round with 4, shall we? Let's divide by one more time 4. So g equals, I should probably continue somewhere where you can read it actually. G equals, how many 4s in a 32? 32 has 8 4s. So there you go, voila, we found it. Apparently, he shipped 800 crates of grapefruit. 800 crates of grapefruit, that's all. And like I said, this is all for learning purposes. This is not for the exam. The exam was long done. As far as the exam was concerned, we were long done. That's what they were looking for. They were looking for number of crates of oranges, which for us was crate, and the answer is 8. We're not done yet. I want to solve the entire thing. Now that we have the g, let's find out the t. Now that we have the g, let's solve for t. So we continue here, substitute in here. T equals 2 times g, which is 800, plus 20. 2 times 800 is 1600, 1620. So t equals 1620. C equals 1620. How much money does he get for tangerine? For tangerine he gets $15. Let's multiply this guy by $15. Shall we? 1620 times 15. 15 zeros are 0. 15 times 2 is 30. 0 carry 3. 15 times 6 is 15 5s are 75 and 15 6 are 90. 90 and a 3 is 93. 3 carry 9. 15 times 15 ones are 15. 15 plus 9 is 24. So it's 24,300. 24,300 is the amount of money he gets from tangerine. Let's keep it in separately here. Now let's find out how much money he gets from oranges. I'm going to erase this part, this much here. How much money does he get from the oranges? How many oranges? Right here. He sold 800 crates of oranges. And how much does he get for oranges? Oh, sorry, not oranges. I meant to say grapefruit. He gets $18. 8 8s are 64. 4 carry 6. 8 8s are 64. 4 carry 6. 8 8 ones are 8 plus 6. 8 plus 6 is 8 plus 6 is 6 plus 6 is 12. It's 14. So it's 14 and a 2 0. So it's 14,400. 14,400 is the amount of money he gets from grapefruit. This was for the grapefruit. Now, guess what we should get when we add up these two amounts? Once we add up the amount of money that he gets from the grapefruit and the amount of money that he gets from tangerine, guess what we should get? We should get exactly what the problem tells us he gets. And if we don't, then something has gone wrong, something has gone or something has gone awry. We have made a boo-boo. Let's add them up, okay? So here I'm going to call them tangerine dollars. That is the amount of money that he gets from the tangerine, which is right here, 24,300. And let's call this the grapefruit dollar. The grapefruit dollar, which we just found out was 14,000. 14,400. Now you understand, we are doing all this thing just for fun. No other reason, just for fun. just to see what we get. Let's see what we get. 300 plus 400 is 700, which is a good sign because we know he got 700 something. I remember seeing 700 somewhere. And then 4 plus 4 is 8. Does the problem tell us that his total revenue was 38,700? Yes, it does. They tell you in the second statement, I believe it was last week, second statement, I'm going to read it to you verbatim. Last week, the number of crates of oranges that the grocer shipped, no, that's statement number 1, sorry. Statement number 2 is what I want to read. Last week, the grower received a total of 38,700 from the crates of oranges and crates of grapefruits that he shipped. I said I was going to read verbatim, but I didn't, did I? Anyway, so that's it. It works. Just in the event, particularly if you happen to be non-native speaker, and if you already know the word, then of course you have to just put up with it. I just want to make sure that you understand the word verbatim and we learn it properly. When did we learn it? I know we learned it because I use it all the time, and I must have covered it. Just give me one quick second. Don't tell me we have not learned it. What the hell? I have not covered the word verbatim in our vocabulary videos. Verbatim is the word which means word for word. To say something word for word, exactly it was written down or exactly it was said by somebody else, to quote somebody precisely, is to quote them verbatim. To read something verbatim is to read word for word. Notice verbatim has an I in it. It is to be spelled with an I, not an E. Alright? That was the end of it. I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Bye now.